Yo, what's up, Bulldogs? All right, I have with me today Ketan. I think I said it right. As soon as I have to say it, I'm gonna say it right.
Better than the first time, so yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, from Intellectual Muscle, and he reached out to me, and at first, sometimes I get a lot of people that reach out to me, and I kind of dismiss a lot of emails and everything. But I really liked what when I watched some of the videos on his channel, and just his perspective on things, and how just analytical he was about everything. And I thought, hey, let's have him on the channel, and let's discuss some things. So welcome.
Thank you so much, man. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. I'm getting a little bit of a feedback. That's why I'm...
From my side?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, I can put this further away, I guess, but
okay.
Yeah, sure.
There we go. Okay, that's a little better. All right. So, so tell me a little bit about kind of what your, what your background is. I think, to get started here, for everyone that's not familiar with you and your channel, and what kind of content, because you have pretty similar content to my channel, I believe. So,
yeah. So I kind of do. So I started off. My name is Ketan. I started off in personal training and fitness and bodybuilding and such because I was always a skinny ectomorph guy that never had any muscle. I played a bunch of sports back. Like I played a lot of soccer. I was really good at soccer, but then that ended because there's no sports and money in India. So I decided to take up something else at the age of 18. And at the age of 18, six-pack is like the most in thing at that point in time. And like every girl likes a six-pack. So let's do that. So that's how I basically got into like weightlifting and such. I started off at the age of 18. That was like 2000. Yeah, so I started off at the age of 18-ish. That was probably 2007. And then I kept on going from 2008, sorry. And I'm since then I've been in the industry. I got into the industry like officially 2012 or so. In terms of like qualifications and such, I am the youngest strength and conditioning coach from India, and there's a couple of us out there. So I pride myself on that. And also I've been the only international strength and conditioning coach at McMaster, the first one that's here in Hamilton in Ontario, and also the only international the only Indian strength and conditioning coach at Harvard so far. So yeah, I've trained NBA guys, NFL guys, Olympic fencing athletes, Nordic skiing, like sports that I didn't even know existed, water polo athletes. And there's some freaks of nature in freaking water polo. Like, again, you wouldn't believe. So I did the whole strength and conditioning bit with athletes and such. But what I like the most is muscle and bodybuilding and aesthetics. And that's basically what I focus in. And so right now I kind of do like yourself, life transformation and life coaching with a core. For me, the core is around bodybuilding and fitness.
Okay. And I was looking at, you've got a lot of interesting content. I like your approach, right? A very analytical kind of, you have a lot of empirical evidence, but then also you do have content also where, like some of your dieting videos where you talk about the mental aspect of it. I think that so many people don't realize, like, that's pretty much the most important thing, right? It's like, so I think, what would be kind of cool to talk about is kind of the struggle that you had, kind of getting the physique you wanted. I saw some videos on your channel talking about that. And I think that would help a lot of people as well, because if someone like you struggled, who had all this knowledge, who who has way more knowledge than the average person is going to get, then like talking about that and kind of how you solve that problem, I think that's going to help a lot of other people as well.
Okay, that's sure. Yeah, I can definitely get into that. One more thing, let's touch upon the motivation and the mindset kind of thing once again for fat loss later on. Like, I'll get into my muscle building stuff, but like we'll touch upon the fat loss thing, because that goes into the Viktor E. Frankl book kind of thing. And I'm not sure if you managed to watch that video that I sent, the Lose Fat Forever one, but I mentioned it in that, so I'll just mention that here afterwards.
Okay, yeah, we'll put a thumbtack in there.
Sure.
Come back. Yeah.
Okay. Now I don't know if you've seen me at the age of 18 or not, but I have those pictures. Actually, you have, because you checked out that video, so you've seen how, like, what I kind of look like. So yeah, like most, if you've seen any natty or nots, whether Derek's videos, Greg Doucette's, and literally any natty or not on the internet at this point, they basically go, is this guy natural or not? And then they go into like, how did this guy look when he was young?
Right.
before he played any sports or when he was in school or, before anything really happened. After puberty hit, but like, how was the structure kind of a thing? And all of the guys that are huge at this point, like, Chris Bumstead and Big Ramy, like this is like the actual Olympia guys, right? So these guys were actually under the spotlight because Chris Bumstead apparently looked better than all of us look before he even started training, like when he was in high school or some shit. And all of these guys look like that now. So that's basically where I started off from. And at first, just like literally everybody else on the planet, I had no clue what's going on. So I tagged along with a buddy of mine, and he gave me like an everyday routine every day, or like a bro split, and I'm doing abs every day and blah, blah, blah. And nothing happened. And this is what happens with everyone. Like, even whether it's game or this, that, or anything, like as soon as you don't get results, like you're like, fuck this. Like, why am I putting my effort into this? Like, I'm not getting anything out of it, right? So then I didn't want to do it, and I came back out of it, and I went back into sports again. Then later on, when I couldn't do my soccer thing anymore, I was like, you know what? I want to have a six pack. Let's see what I can do. Then I started reading. The first website that I ever went to, and actually how I kind of model my programming at this point, is off of Strong Lifts 5x5. Have you heard of that program? Or
Oh yeah. That's what's the name?
Mehdi.
Yeah,
man. That guy's amazing too. Like in terms of marketing and everything. Like he came in at the exact right time. But yeah, so I went into his stuff, and I basically went through his entire website in like 3-4 days or something. I was okay, this is how we do it. So I definitely got way stronger, way bigger, hypertrophy, like sarcoplasmic in the sense of like looks, hypertrophy, as well as like myofiber, like strength as well. But no matter what I did, and as I kept on going on and on and on, man, I was good compared to my people. But I was nothing compared to the Westerners here. And like, let's not even let's not even get into like Russians and Germans and fucking black people, and let's not even get into all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm like, we're nothing here. So and
I mean, Indian guys have a hard time, right, gaining muscle traditionally, right? It's like the genetics are just not typically as good, right? It's like, I mean, because most of the Indian guys that I coach, it's gaining muscle. It's rarely losing fat. It's more like hard gain type of situation.
I think where we start off, most of us is skinny fat. The guys when they start, it's pretty much all the skinny fat. So I just never, you never get there basically. And I had something else, but I kind of forgot. So that's where I started off in terms of weightlifting, and I was like, I'm nothing compared to these guys. And then I'm like, what am I not doing, kind of a thing. So I just started reading more, because like you would hope that the answers in some book somewhere, or the answers like in some BCA or some glutamine or beta alanine, something that I haven't ever tried before. And I just kept on reading more and more and more and studying more and more and more. And that's actually the reason why, like, my need to put on more muscle is the reason why I got my strength and conditioning certification, and like why I wanted to educate myself is to make myself bigger. It wasn't really to train somebody else, right? Like it's like intrinsic motivation at the end of the day. So that's why I did all of that stuff, and I was like, okay, none of this shit helps. And that's when I kind of understood the whole genetic stuff and like how it goes, and who's predisposed to get something and who's not predisposed to get something. And I was like, okay, I need to understand how to do it. Then I kind of started exploring like the anabolics and the pharmacology aspect of it, but we can get into that in the future if you want.
Okay. And real quick, I want to address this super chat here from Max. If we both can. He says, I find that as a smart guy growing up, even if you develop muscle and good style grooming, some women assume you're not a Chad just because you're smart. I feel like that's a very a story that you're telling yourself there, and it's a very limited thinking. What's your thoughts on that?
Even if you don't, well, I kind of, this might sound a little, I know like a Chad is supposed to be the guy that gets all the women, but if they're assuming that you're not a Chad, I don't really know why that would be a thing. Because like it would, so I guess if I just give you like an explanation of the muscle thing, man, no matter how much muscle you put on, you're not going to get women. Like, right. It makes a difference in attractiveness. Trust me, like you've seen this, I've seen this. It's not like when you put on more and more muscle, it's more and more guys like, bro, how did you do that, bro? Like, it's never ever. I have once in my entire life, a friend of mine, not some random stranger on the street or something, like a friend of mine, or maybe once or twice in a club or something, where a girl comes up and like, hey, can I, feel your bicep or something? But it's always the guys that kind of want to do that, and no woman that doesn't know you is going to come to you because you suddenly have more muscle, kind of a thing. Like if you can't open your mouth, if you don't know what you're saying, if you don't know how to make her feel comfortable and all that kind of stuff, the chat stuff is like, this is not going to work.
Yeah. So don't tell yourself something just because, you know, it's easy to say that you're not getting the success you want because you're smart. But that's not you know, that's just a limiting belief that you have, that it's a lie that you're telling yourself to make yourself feel better. So, you know, avoid that kind of thing instead of just face the truth, you know, head on, that you're probably just not good. You just don't, you need to develop your game and some skills and your ability. So
Sorry. So only to sorry to kind of add on to that. The only thing that I would say is like maybe if you do add all of that stuff, you might possibly intimidate her a little bit because your value might go so high that she might be a little bit intimidated in the sense like, why would this guy want to stick around me? You know, because he's smart and good looking and this and that. And also the fact that if you're that smart and good looking and well spoken and everything else, then if she's attracted to you, then probably 100 other girls are also attracted to you at the same time. So maybe she doesn't want a part of that. So that could be an aspect of why she doesn't want to invest in that, because she doesn't want the drama and the baggage and stuff.
For sure. Yeah. So okay. So then when you started studying, what, I mean, because you still said that you struggled for a while, right, in order to get to where you wanted to get to. What was the final thing that got you to the point of making the breakthroughs? Like, what was the thing that you weren't doing that you needed to do, or, you know, what were the main things that changed it for you?
Okay, yeah. So basically, I basically understood all about programming, and I moved from novice progression to intermediate progression, and then advanced, and then elite, and I did all that kind of stuff. I did super high volume training programs, super high intensity Yates style programs. I did everything in the middle, everything, and I just wasn't getting the results. And then eventually, I was like, okay, either I completely give up on the love of my life, the passion of my life that I fucking love doing. So there's another thing. There's a graph that's that I can find, but it's also on my channel. You can find it on the internet, where you make about 60-ish% of your gains in the first year of your lifetime gains in the first year, if you know what you're doing and you have a good program, et cetera, right? So if you know what you're doing, et cetera, then you can make 60% of your gains in the first year. By the end of the third year, I'd say 85-ish%. By the end of the fifth year, I'd say like 95%. And then after that, you're like kind of just scraping for just a little bit more. So by year 5, what I had was not good enough for myself. Like I was like, this is not enough for me. I want more. And from that year 5 until year 9 is when I started going into anabolics and enhancing and, you know, taking it to the next level. From year 5 to year 9, basically what happened was I just kept on losing motivation and all the, you know, because I'm going to work and I'm not making any money. I'm like, why am I going to work anymore? You know, so what I try to do is what's the minimum volume that I can do to get away with keeping this muscle? What's the maximum amount of junk food that I can do to, like, you know, still keep this muscle and look okay-ish, but like, you know, something of that sort. So I just basically started pulling back from everywhere and didn't get anything until I basically decided to enhance and then go to the next level, where at this point I've actually surpassed my dream physique when I started off at like 10, 11 years ago. So
okay. And I think it's interesting, just your choice. Again, I think, you know, different people have different opinions on whether or not to go on anabolics or not. And you know, myself, I started doing TRT. Which is, yeah, I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, but I mean, it's still, you know, it's still enhanced, right? About a year and a half ago, part of the reason for me was I had already reached my max, but I was more concerned with my SHGB being extremely, yeah. SHB.
It's okay. Yeah, it's sex hormone binding globulin. That's the thing that basically binds to your testosterone. If you don't have free testosterone, the testosterone in your system doesn't make much of a difference. So if your SHBG is too high, then it'll bind to the free T, and then it'll, you know, you won't be getting the benefits. So yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah, because I had my levels were like 140.
You're talking total test or SHBG?
SHBG.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay. It was like unheard of, and I got tested multiple times, and it's like, and I guess, you know, the thing, what I was doing was I was running marathons at 230 pounds, and then fasting, you know, eating 1 meal a day. So probably, you know, a combination of the fasting plus all the cardio at that weight probably really tanked my my system. But anyway, that's the primary reason why I ended up getting on it. And then but I'm sidetracking here, but what I meant to talk about is that, like, I think it's interesting, like, just with your journey, how you had actually gone through, done everything you can, got to the max that you could, and then decided that you wanted more, as opposed to, I think a lot of guys see it as a shortcut and they don't really want to put in the work. And even then, it's like, I mean, you didn't become a giant hulk of a, I mean, it's like the
No, yeah,
genetics
not yet. At
still
least
plays like,
maybe tomorrow, but I don't know, not yet.
yeah. But yeah, not to knock you. I'm just saying, but the genetics play such a big part. I think people don't realize that as well, because I think a lot of guys get really, really frustrated because they're putting in the work, they're doing everything right, and they're not getting the same result as another guy. And
Yeah,
so and really a lot of times it just does come down to just the genetics itself, just like
yeah,
the same thing I saw in running, in competitive running. I mean, as much as I don't have those type 2 muscle fibers, I just like I'm not going to be a great, I can run marathon, I can train myself to run a
okay,
marathon, but
okay, yeah. So you're type 1. Okay, yeah.
yeah, but I'm not going to be any type of competitive marathon runner at no matter how hard I train, and that's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
how it is. So, but yeah, I just thought that was interesting. What do you say to the guys that like they just want to jump on stuff there? Because most common emails I get is like, oh, will this work? Should I do this? Should I do that? And
Yeah,
I'm like, what do you think about that?
yeah, man. The unfortunate thing is that anabolics do work.
Mhm.
That's like, it's weird to say that, but it's the unfortunate thing. But the problem is, how do I put this? They're literally actually, I think people have like kind of forgotten, or just they skip over the performance enhancing aspect of the whole thing. But so it can enhance stuff. Like even if you're doing dog shit, garbage stuff, and let's say the speed that you're going at is like 20 or 30 kilometers an hour, as opposed to like what your max potential speed is, like 100%, 100 kilometers an hour. If you take a PED, it might bump that up by 20-30%.
Mhm.
Right. So if you're going at 20 or 30, you might start going 24 or 36 or something. Right. So it'll definitely give you a bump. There's no doubt about that. But instead of that, if you actually used the right training methods and the right, let me give you an example of myself. Why am I making these hypothetical examples? The pictures that you've seen of me being stage ripped, shredded, my rectus spinae is like popping out of my back, my abs are like popping out and completely. The amazing look that I have is my third cycle, is my third run, where I combined it, and I worked with Duset, the big fitness YouTube coach
Oh
guy
yeah.
right now at this point. So yeah, he was coaching me, and I basically did his diet and his training. And that's what I said in that video. Like I basically went back to training like a fucking savage and eating exactly like I did when I first started off, right? So I combined all of those things, but that was my third run in order to get there. However, prior to that, I had done 2 more runs prior to that, where I was just a big bloated bag of milk, like I was huge, yes, but I was like chunky, I didn't look like how I wanted. Nobody wants to look like that. Even as a smaller guy, yeah, it feels good to be bigger for me, even if it's with fat. But still, nobody really, end goal isn't to look like that, right? So it's not about like, is that going to transform you? It absolutely isn't. It just enhances it. And well, one of the other things, I kind of don't want to take this off topic, but you can only run so much and so many things so many times. So it makes more sense, if you're going to run it, that's fine, but make sure that you have all the bases completely covered. Because when you start running, then you get the string gets pulled back so far that what's the word I'm looking for? You catapult so far at that point. So it's not worth it using it without those.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, because you should at least maximize what you're getting there, right? As opposed to just not getting the fundamentals down first. Now, what about the other thing? So we talked about what about the losing of the fat? Because I thought that was interesting. That's the thing that I've like, gaining muscle's never been difficult for me. I can gain muscle, and especially when I started getting on TRT, then it became even easier. Well, it combined stopping running 60 miles a week.
Yeah,
Plus,
yeah.
like those two combined actually improved it quite a bit. But what about the fat loss aspect? I've always struggled personally, like getting anywhere. Once I get below 10%, it's just I just get stuck completely. What's your experience on that, and what's kind of the tips you have for guys that are trying to get down? And most guys aren't really even trying to get to that point, they're just trying to get to 10%.
Yeah.
What's the best way that to help these guys?
So this is exactly why I asked you to put like the thumbtack thing in the mindset and the motivation thing.
Yeah.
And this is the video that I sent to you that was like 70 minutes long. I was like, you're definitely going to love this one if you can go through it. But the first 20 minutes of that goes into this example, which is you give me, John, you give me an example of what is the one point in time in any and every woman's life that she is going to successfully lose weight.
before she's getting ready to get married, honeymoon or something, or going to the
Marriage, exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Something that we don't care about. Like in their heads, it's like this, right? That the day for them is like this, the pictures, blah 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 blah. Now the reason for that is, for them it means so much that the meaning of looking that good for that picture, that meaning is so much for them that they will do anything and everything that they can possibly do to look the best for that picture, right? That's where the meaning of life, meaning for life, I forgot Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning kind of thing comes in. Like, why somebody does something is the reason that keeps you going. Because discipline, motivation is kind of like a spark, man. You look at somebody right now and they look really, really good, and right now you won't eat the bad stuff. You won't eat a pizza right now. You might choose a salad or something. And like, this happens with every single human being, maybe yourself, but definitely myself. When you wake up in the morning, you're not thinking about cheating on your meals or cheating on your diet or doing anything. You're like 100% set and go, like, this is a good day, I'm going to have a good day. Until like maybe 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. And like, you're tired now because you've been working all day, and your willpower is a muscle in itself. Like your willpower is a literal muscle. And you've been flexing your willpower muscle, testing it by not going on YouTube, not scrolling on Instagram, not replying to that email that just came in, not texting that girl back or something. So your willpower muscle has been tested already all day long. It's only at that point in time at 7, 8 p.m. that when you break your willpower and try and go for something else, right? And you eat off of the menu, you do something that sabotages what you want to do. That training of that willpower and thing, the motivation isn't going to help you at that point. At that point, it's like, what is it that's keeping me going? What is the reason why I want to do this is what's going to keep me going, right? That's what taps into your discipline as opposed to motivation. Motivation comes and goes. But the reason why the discipline remains or is a thing is because of what it is that's keeping you going. That's So the reason why most people cannot even start off losing body weight or body fat is because they haven't found the right meaning yet. And that's the example of the women, because they will try 50 different diets and they will work with personal trainers and get hired nutritionists and everything. But nothing will work until like now they're getting married and now they're doing a fucking juice cleanse, toxic cleanse diet, and somehow managed to like magically lose 20-30 pounds in like 3-4 weeks or something. You know what I mean? Like, so that's basically why. It's not really the tool that they use. It's like, why did they use that tool?
Right. I like that. Yeah. I think the Viktor Frankl one is like, if the why is big enough, you'll find the how, or something like that. But yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, I mean, I guess if you were to offer someone, if you say, if you can lose 10 pounds in a month, I'll give you $1 million. it would right.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't be difficult to do that.
It wouldn't be difficult, yeah. Like, why how can celebrities do it? Like, how did Christian Bale, was that the back? I think Christian Bale, right? Like, went from like freaking a skinny twig to like muscular man back to like this thing again. When you have 10 million, $20 million on the line, that's pretty good motivation to be doing stuff. And like, I'm from India, so we have even more money, and we have like pharmacies like free. You can walk into anywhere and get stuff. Like, it's not illegal or anything either. So it's like, why would they not hop on juice, and why would they not hop on gear when they get like crores and crores and crores, like, which is like multi-millions? Like, it's insane. Like, why would they not do it? Their motivation to do it is insane. You know what I mean? Like, the meaning for it is insane.
Yeah. I always my unpopular opinion that people don't like is that I believe that pretty much all professional athletes are on gear because it's kind of like this paradox, right? It's like, either it's effective and there's no way you can compete with someone who, if it is effective, right, which means that they all have to be doing it, or it's not effective, in which case why would you do it? Like like, so you either it's effective and it doesn't matter, or it's ineffective, doesn't matter, or it's effective and therefore you must be able to compete with the company, right? Because if some guy can, otherwise you couldn't compete with him. So anyway, I think that's just another way of looking at it. But
on that topic, on that topic, might I suggest you a documentary that I think you would love, or maybe if you've seen it, Bigger, Stronger, Faster?
Oh yeah.
Have you watched it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? Like, why would they not? Well, first of all, to even out the playing field, and secondly, it's because we, as a consumer, are paying the money to look at freaks doing freaky things. Like, if natural people started competing, they wouldn't be as freaky anymore. Like, we wouldn't have sub 10 seconds, sub 9 seconds, sub 10 seconds in the 100-meter sprint. We'd go back to like 12 seconds or something. And be like, oh, I'm not going to watch that. Like, why would I want to watch that? Something. There's a bunch of different reasons, but yeah.
So okay, so practically applying this, right? So guys that are listening to this that are like, okay, well, if I get a big enough, well, I mean, I guess maybe they're thinking at this point, I just got to pick out my wedding dress and then.
Yeah, yeah,
But what about the guys that need that? Because I do get a lot of time from guys. They're like, I just don't have any like real big thing in my life that I like that's motivating me, that's pushing me towards thing. How do you light that fire? How do you find that thing that's going to pull you forward, that goal that's going to give you the big enough why?
yeah. I guess let me take you through a couple of examples of the different people that have big enough whys, and then you can try and choose one for yourself. Because this is one of those things too, and I mentioned that in the podcast, is like, if you, as human beings, we have the ability to choose and make a meaning. So that's good for us because we have that freedom. Because if we don't do that, life will definitely throw you a meaning. Now, what I mean by that is, if I want to choose to be healthy and do all those things, that's a meaning that I choose for myself. Like, the reason why I did that was because I wanted to kind of test my metabolism. I wanted to get it down where I got to like stage conditioning lean, but I also wanted to reverse diet and see how high I can take my metabolism up there. So for me, that meaning was actually a really nerdy meaning of like trying to max out my metabolism kind of a thing through reverse dieting and such. So that was my meaning to do it. So that's why I did it. Some of the guys that I'm working with, it's everyone will come up to say, oh, I want to get jacked, I want to lose weight, but why? And they won't tell you why until like now I'm working with them one-on-one and I'm chatting them up and now we're friends and such. And then they'll let me know, bro, I broke up with my girlfriend and I feel like shit and I need it.
Yeah.
Where is that coming from? That's an insecurity, right? That insecurity feeling is what's driving him. So it doesn't really even make a difference if your driving force or energy is negative, because negative energy, man, makes people like accomplish insane things. So as long as it doesn't ruin your life kind of a thing, but it makes you accomplish like amazing things. So it kind of depends on why are people doing different things. But yeah, and like I said, like if you don't manage to do it, if you don't choose a reasoning for it, back there, I'm not sure if you can see this or not, but right here where my fingers are, yeah, you probably can't see it because this camera's pretty bad. My next reason to like get back down to like stage conditioning I've written is shred for YouTube, business, and game.
Okay.
So, and the reason for that is because I noticed this, like my YouTube views went down and the amount of business and the amount of clientele that I got went down when I lost my abs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. So, and I'm trying to make my business and my YouTube and everything grow as well. So if I literally just have abs and the exact same topic that I'm talking about gets more views, the exact same content that I think is really good quality gets more views just because I have a six pack, it makes sense for me to do it.
But it could be dumb as feather. It could be that psychologically, when you have a six pack, you feel like you're more confident because you feel like you're more of an authority and people should listen to you. Whereas maybe when you don't have the six pack, then you feel like you're not adequate. Like I'm trying to think of the words.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I didn't think about it, but that's actually a really good point. Yep.
Yeah. So okay, so that's interesting. So I wonder, actually, so here's something maybe would be even a good hack for you. Then maybe what you should do is schedule a photo shoot with a photographer for a specific date, right? For photos, right? And then that will, make you, and again, for you guys listening, you could do the same thing, right? You could say, okay, well, 3 months from now, I'm going to hire this fitness photographer. We're going to shoot some fitness photos for my Instagram or whatever it is, And there you go. I mean, I think you're going to be shredded by then.
Yeah. So. But you have to find a meaning that's really meaningful to you.
Yeah.
That's basically the point. Like if the looking good thing does not make as much, like again, are you going to spend let's say $2,000, $3,000 on a really good high quality photographer? Then that's a big thing that you put out there. So then you don't want to fail that mission because you've already put in an investment of like $3,000, right? So one of the reasons why people actually why do people like suddenly magically become really, really successful with coaches is because they put down money. Exactly. Right? When you put down money, you're accountable. Like I literally put down $1,000, I put down $2,000 for like 3 months or something. I'm accountable. Like even if I don't get the results, that's fine. But I'm definitely going to make sure that I go ahead with the process. Whatever the outcome and the end result happens is not in my hands. But I'm going to make sure that I will do everything that I have in my power to work the process all the way through. And the irony is like when they work the process all the way through, that's how the results come through. So.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like also, I guess, like going to like a seminar or something as opposed to like listening to videotapes, right? It's like you go spend all the time and the effort to go there. You're going to and paying the money, you're going to follow through, and you're going to, like, people get their lives changed more going to a seminar, but they could just read the book. It's like, well, why did you spend $1 to go to the seminar? It's the same thing that's in the book. Yeah, but the seminar changes your life. The book maybe not. So
yeah.
Okay, so so now with the genetic differences and the hard gainers and just that whole thing, what are your thoughts on, again, for guys, a big, I'm going to kind of give you some of the problems that I face the most, and a lot of it is, it depends, different guys, but it's usually genetics. Definitely guys that are of Indian descent struggle with this a lot, where it's like, in fact, one of my good friends, he's in the gym lifting with me, and it's just like, he sees me making all this progress, he's not making any progress, and it's like, what can they do to really to max, is it what's a realistic expectation, and what's, and what can they do to try and make sure, and I think part of it too is like, so a lot of the guys I talk to, they're like, oh, I can't gain any new weight. And I'm like, well, you just need to eat more. And it's like, what are the things that they can do specifically that you found to overcome that?
Okay, I'm gonna take this in two different directions. One, we'll just hit the mindset thing first, because that will make the rest of the journey really easy. And then I'll give you the tools for what they can actually practically do in their lives. Because without the mindset, this kind of really won't work. So the mindset thing actually really is, man, as cliched or ironic or whatever this might sound like, you're literally on your own journey. Right? I mean, when you wake up in the morning, you don't wake up with the thoughts that person wakes up with. You don't wake up with the issues, the troubles, the good things, whatever. Like anything that you wake up, when you cook your food, you cook it for yourself. Anything that happens is for yourself, right? So being a person where I started off from, my genetics, all the things that I had access to, when I started off in India, dude, we didn't have Olympic barbells when I started off. I don't know. That may or may not shock some people, but yeah, there were no Olympic barbells in like so many different gyms that I've been at. They just didn't exist. There were no squat racks when I started off in 2007. So you know how I used to squat? There was a decline bench that used to, like, there was a decline bench with the racks in it, and I would extend those racks all the way up and get underneath it like this in order to squat out, and then go outside without safeties, of course, because I'm doing it in a bench. And then that's how I would squat. So that's how I started off. Like you're always on your own journey. People are going to have access to all kinds of things, including genetics. Like they're going to have access to money for better supplements, better coaches, better equipment, every single thing. So again, all you can really do is, am I whatever X percentage better than what I was last time or not? Like, am I making progress for my own self or not, is the way to basically look at it, right? Because otherwise, even if this guy, the Indian guy that you have, let's say he only made like 3 pounds of progress in this past year, and then now he starts working with me, and the next year he makes like 5 pounds of progress, but then you also start working with me and you make 15 pounds of progress. Do you see the massive difference that he made? He made 66% more gains compared to his last year, which for him is insane, because obviously his genetic ceiling and his cap is so bad. But if he compares himself to you, which are 15 pounds, it's like, there's obviously, he will never be happy. So and when he won't be happy with that, he will not want to eat right. He will not want to train right. He won't want to do all the tools that you do to basically, try and maximize everything. So now I can touch upon the tools if you want. So I think most people, I have a bunch of different videos about this on my channel as well. And I'm not sure how you started off with your training, but in my opinion, from my understanding of like over a decade, the best method of trying to start off for anyone, like as long as you're a human being and you have 2 hands and 2 arms and 2 legs and everything, as long as your anatomy is that of a human being, you should start off with strength training first, which is like really lower reps. Like I'm going to say 6 and under, not powerlifting reps, not like 1 rep maxes, but like 4, 5, 6, 8, something like that. Do not go into the 10, 12, 15, 20s, all of those like you see on YouTube or Instagram or anything else. Those are people that have like, I now used 15, 20s now because I can actually get something out of them.
Oh, you use like 15, 20. Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
No. Yeah. So again, and now I cycle. So I periodize. So like right now, I just did like a back workout before coming here. And it was only 5 reppers because now I'm once again into a strength phase.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
But just the phase,
Lost you there. Let's see. Hopefully.
Am I still here?
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
So my bad. I basically meant was I at my level, at like an advanced slash elite level, now I need to keep mixing things up. I need to keep switching things up, because like I will only, so there's that general adaptation graph, like the stress graph, like you will quickly make gains and then it'll plateau really quick. So now you have to change it up. So I have to go from like 4 to 8 reps to now to 6 to 12 reps. And then I have to make it to 15, 20 reps. And then once I plateau all of these, I can come back to this one. And now this one, all the numbers, the reps, the weights, everything will be higher in this one. So I keep cycling, keep realizing, and that's how I go. But a beginner doesn't need to do anything. A beginner does not need to use their brain almost at all, with the exception of the fact that, okay, a little bit more weight than last time, a little bit more weight than last time, a little bit more weight than last time. Like some of my exercises can be pretty advanced, and I go into like mind muscle connection and blah, 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 like isolation and stuff. Beginners need like 6 basic moves, man. Like two pulls, 2 pushes, your squat and your deadlift. If you want to add in lunges, that's amazing. And you add in your chin-ups and pull-ups and dips and such. That's literally all you need. And you just need to progressively overload on those, and just progressively overload in the strength rep ranges. And you will be golden for a bare minimum of 6 months. You could probably drag that on for like 2 years, 3 years or something. So
yeah, I mean, even at an advanced level, I'd consider myself probably at an advanced level, since I've been lifting for 20 years, and I'm pretty close to my genetic capacity. I would say I'm about 250. I'm 6'3".
Oh wow. Okay.
But even me, like my lifting routine, and again, I'm not really trying to gain a lot. It's maintenance, but I lift 3 times a week. I do full body workout, and I do 1 exercise per body part, 3 sets. That's it. Like I'll do bench, I'll do weighted chin-ups, I'll do a shoulder press, I'll do like a leg press. I don't even do squats or deadlift anymore, because at my age, it's not worth the risk factor, at least, for me. And, I like a lot of walking lunges, but I maintain a pretty damn solid physique for not, I think people try to make it so damn complicated. And yeah, if I was trying to squeeze out every single inch of performance, I think I would do something differently. But yeah, it's really, so I like keeping it simple for sure.
I mean, as long as you're making progress and you like the progress that you're making and you're not unhappy, then absolutely stick with what you're doing. But again, like if you only do like the single exercises or like 3 sets or something, then I think, again, like I make a bunch of different programs. But yeah, I can give you like another advanced kind of program, because you're at an advanced stage where I will cycle you through like different reps and such, and it like execute that for like 12 weeks or so, and then let's talk after like 3 months and see whether you like that or not.
Yeah, no, I'd be interested in that. I just address Charlie Sheen here. It says, John, you're literally taking roids and you're giving me advice. Eat more, lift more, LMAO. So I think it's interesting. So I definitely see the skepticism, Charlie, and you can go back and look at my, I started on TRT about 1.5 years ago, maybe closer to 2 years at this point. So you could look at my YouTube videos going back like 10 years or so, and you can see where I was then. I would say that TRT has given me maybe like 15 or so pounds of muscle above what I was at, but I was jacked, ripped at about 220 to 225 at 6'3". So and I was running marathons and stuff. So but yeah, you could look at my Instagram or any of that stuff to see, because I can't hide it. I mean, I'm on YouTube every single day. So the only thing I could be lying to you about would be being on TRT, but it seems pointless that I would do that and then tell you that I am on it. So
yeah. But I'm sorry. So let me just kind of like address what he just said too. You're on roids. Well, roids are like a huge thing. Like there's like so many of them. You're on testosterone. That's like something that everybody makes. That's what everybody has. And sure, you could be on high TRT. Like I don't know how much you dose, like 150, 200.
I'm doing 150 now. I was doing 100, but I'm at 150. So
yeah. So that's fine, because I think like naturally kind of we produce 50 to 70 minimum, but like the average actual good dosage would be 20 mg per day every day if you can go, which comes out to 140 for a week, 140, 150. So what you're at is basically just literally high normal levels, right? So the benefit that you get isn't that you can make more muscle. It's like you don't lose out as much muscle on really stressful situations in your life. Like let's say there's been days where you only had like 3-4 hours of sleep or something like that, or you just went out drinking and partying, so your testosterone won't dip because of those reasons. But it's not like going to enhance you to give you more muscle. It's actually cutting off what you were otherwise going to be losing a little bit. So it's not necessarily enhanced. And if you don't eat and you don't train, then you're not going to get.
And if I'm in a deficit, I'm not gonna I won't see my testosterone level get crushed.
Yeah, exactly. So natural bodybuilders, bodybuilding, like man, their testosterone levels drop to shit. So yeah, again, if you're a natural bodybuilder, that would definitely help you out. But then you wouldn't be natural anymore. But yeah, no, definitely, like that will definitely help you out. HRT, if you get really, really low, let's say 10%, 8%, and lower than that, yeah, would definitely help out.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, if you want to ask questions like that, you're totally welcome to do that. I'm going to be transparent with you guys. So let's talk a little bit about kind of transition this a little bit, because I wanted to get the fitness stuff first,
Sure.
but I did title this "How to Be a Masculine Man," and I think that's something also that a lot of guys, again, not to be in any way, whatever, but especially guys from India, definitely, I have a lot of guys that follow me that ask these kind of questions and stuff. And I mean, all guys struggle with this in general, but what are your tips? I think that, and the reason why I'm asking you specifically about that is because I know that you can relate and those guys can relate to you. So what are your tips, especially coming from India, going here to where the culture is different, and especially, dealing with things like game and and all that stuff.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about confidence and such? Because like I know, as I'm the same person, and the only reason why I help other people out is because I'm literally going through the same things, even actively, even right now I'm practicing game and everything. Like I'm doing it every, as many opportunities. Right now it feels like everybody has AIDS because you have a fucking mask on. So that doesn't help at all.
Yeah,
but as much as I possibly could prior to that, I was definitely practicing as much as, what my lines are at this point. Like I think you like, I'm scared that you look like the Bandit Queen right now, but you do have gorgeous eyes. That's my that's my line at this point. Because what else can you kind of do at this point? But yeah, so in terms of masculinity, and so let's go to the masculinity part first, I guess. This is something that I noticed growing up, and I've read like Rollo Tomasi's The Rational Male, and I've been through the Red Pill subreddits and the incel subreddits and the MGTOW and everything else. So I know of what all exists, and I find them to be like too extremist and also way too negative. Like that's not the way that you really want to live your life. Exactly. And I see exactly why they exist. Like I see why, because people are like, guys are getting ripped off and #MeToo for fucking nothing and like blah blah blah, like all kinds of stuff is happening. I can see all of that stuff and I can see why people are getting mad. At the same time though, if you keep such a negative connotation against like an entire gender, like all females are this, or all girls are whores, all girls are this, or they're all money grabbing, blah, 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 it doesn't really harm them. Right? Like, let's say if I have this mentality for myself and I meet like a really pretty, attractive girl and she's smart and whatever, but I have this thing in my head thinking about her like that, I'm going to treat her like that as well. I might not say things immediately like that, but I will treat her like that. So what happens is she gets turned off and then she leaves. Yeah. But then that fraction of one day or something is the only time that she was affected by me. The only person that's permanently affected by that is myself. Because exactly. I have like this repellent fucking deodorant going on with MGTOW and Red Pill and everything that I'm repelling everyone. And it's really unfair, I guess, just to even think that everyone should be good to you, or everyone's a good human being, or all girls should be nice to you, or anything. Like if you go to a doctor, man, how many good doctors have you ever met?
Yeah, I mean,
barely anyone, right? Exactly. Barely 99% or something of people are just doing something just because they're doing something. They're not necessarily passionate about what they're doing, or they really want to do it or something. They're not really good at anything. Why would that even not be a thing that you would kind of think about, even in dating or game or women or men even, right? Like not all men are higher quality men. That's why the people that are looking for things, how do I get better? How do I, join Bulldog mindset or join intellectual muscle or something? Like, how can I become better? Not everyone's doing that. Like people are Netflix and chilling and smoking and playing video games all day and doing nothing without any motivation and drive. Now, do you think a girl's going to want to be with them, a person that has no kind of motivation or drive? Like, no. So equally, like not every girl is going to be good. So if anything, that's where game and all this kind of stuff, and having a positive outlook about like there has to be that needle in a haystack, that really helps you out, because the more that you sift through, then you can finally actually value and appreciate the one, the couple of good girls that you're going to get out of as many, whatever, I don't know. Yeah. So that's my.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like that your approach on that, because I agree with you 100%, and I think it's kind of rare, because that negative attitude, it's sort of like the way that I think about it sometimes is like, let's suppose that you hate spinach, right? And you could be like, I'm gonna like you could someone could give you some spinach that they made, and you could
It tastes
try
amazing, but yeah.
right, and you try to like
Yeah,
pretend
yeah.
like you don't hate spinach, but when you put that spoon in your mouth, like your face is going to betray whatever you're trying to. And it's the same thing if you have hatred towards a person or to women or to whatever, or you have that bitterness in you, regardless of there are a lot of truths in
Yeah.
of fucked up things and stuff like that. But if you hold on to that hatred, or like it will come out, and it will, you won't be able to hide that. And and I think that's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate way to live your life too. Like you said, I think that was
Yeah.
a good thing to say, that you affect her for just a small period of time, but
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
living with that
It's
the
you,
entire
right?
time.
You're the person that's suffering. It's not like if
Yeah.
people find out that I think this way, that's fine, because they will just shun me and be done with it. But if my life is sucks at this point because I have such a negative thing, and I'll never be able to get something if I have such a negative connotation mindset, then it affects me, and that's the worst part. Like, to affect yourself permanently, kind of like that. But yeah, so that would be the.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
No,
Raph has a question here. He says, "Are masculine men born or made?" Thanks, guys. I'll let you. What's your take on this?
I'm gonna say that's kind of like, our fit guys born or made. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I would kind of go with that, because I guess sure, more masculine men would be born out of in a culture that's more masculine based or something, like maybe like hopefully, I guess, whatever, like what is it, the environment shapes you and stuff. That's amazing. But at the same time, for all of the guys that weren't masculine, including this guy, at a certain point in time, like, you see different things and they were like, I don't like this version of myself, or this doesn't sit well with me, or this is not the way that I want to live my life. What can I do to become the way that I want to be? And then you try and go for what are the masculine traits that you think and you look up to, and then you basically start imbibing those ones. So I mean, they can definitely be made. I don't see why they can't be made.
Yeah, and I'm definitely of the opinion that men are made. Women are born, men are made. Like, you have to step in, and throughout culture, throughout history, there has been rites of initiation, right? Boys have become men not by hitting a certain age, by going through a certain
By doing
process.
things, yeah, certain tasks and stuff like that. Yeah.
And so,
sorry, what did you mean by the women are born though?
meaning that like in order for women really just have to hold on to the virtues that they
Okay.
possess. They just have to not lose something, whereas men have to create themselves, right? It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
woman just becomes a woman in the sense of, again, not to say that there aren't that you can't develop your character as a woman. Of course you can develop your character in yourself, but the task of becoming a man is different, because there's a lot of grown-up boys out there, and I was one of them. I'm saying that 'cause I'm not trying to make fun of people. I'm saying that I was like one who was 30 years old and who didn't realize. I mean, I had a good job. I was a responsible person, but I did not have the masculinity, because I hadn't really discovered that and been taught that. And society generally does not teach that to men today.
No, yeah,
In fact, the opposite.
no. It's the exactly. I was gonna say that it's the opposite. Like this is a different rant that I don't want to go into in this podcast, but I genuinely think that Western culture and Western society is going to like self implode. Like, it's not gonna last. Like, it's because the guys are just men just in general are just getting all. It's like, it's the same thing. All women are this. Like, all men are this. Like, all men are bad. All men are unneeded. All men are not useful. It's like, why are you doing that? Because your kids are getting raised thinking that, oh, my dad's not useful, my dad's not needed, oh, my single mother can raise me. And then you fucking have like an entire generation like, why is every single human, like every single person now has depression and anxiety in the West? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, because like, in my opinion, no, I have a dad, and I had a dad and a good masculine role model, and I can tell you the differences. Like, I can now so clearly tell you the differences, like the way that my dad would like kind of stand his ground in faces when he had to face like different situations and such, like he would basically hold up for everyone in the family, kind of a thing, and like make things, and how do you do different things. It's just a different thing, as opposed to, again, just in my opinion, if for a woman it's easier to be more emotional and to break down easier and all of those kinds of things. So, but yeah, like you can't always, I don't want to make this sound like it's bad for women or something, but if you don't have a masculine role model or something, you don't know how to make things, how to face things, when things are unfair in life, you cannot fucking complain. You do what you can do. It's like one of those things. So yeah, like crying about it and or going to the cops about it or something is not gonna unfortunately work for guys. Like you literally have to, find a way. Like you have to do things out of it. So
let's see. Kyle with the super chat says 31-year-old zinc and vitamin D feels like Kyle, chill on the zinc and vitamin D, man. You don't want to don't want to go Hulk mode with the too much zinc there.
A really good pre-workout can make you feel like roid rage. I don't know if you've ever tried like really high stim ones, but yeah, if I have really high stim pre-workouts, then yeah, I'm literally my car's flying on the road sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird. Stims don't affect me too much. Like caffeine doesn't seem to affect me that much. It's weird. I don't get I never understood the like drink a cup of coffee and being wired. I've never felt that.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. So we're I guess we're running short on time here. So anything else that you want to make sure that we hit on here? I mean, I definitely, while we have a second here, before they drop off, guys, make sure you click the link down below and subscribe to Intellectual Muscle. I've got the link down in the description. But yeah, anything else you want to cover here?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is Intellectual Muscle. My IG is intellectual.muscle. You can just Google any of these things and you'll end up finding me. The masculine part, we kind of forgot about the what was the other part? About I guess it was Indian guys in this case, but yes, and I forgot what the second part was, but I kind of remember, but I kind of don't. But again, the insecurity and the low self-confidence thing. So now let me just literally tell you, me growing up, I've grown up in like 3 different cities in India. I don't know if you've been to any of them, but Delhi, Mumbai, and Manipal in the south. So south and middle and also the north. No matter where I go, man, I'm Indian. I'm telling you from my culture, Indian men are so goddamn insecure. They're so goddamn insecure. Like you will find them really, really angry, willing to pick a fight like this, and again, grounded, calm, secure, confident man in themselves would be wanting to pick a fight at the drop of a hat. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like why would you be, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing that can spark you like that quickly. But no matter where I went, dude, like it was South India or this or that or anything, like people are willing to pick a fight with you like instantly. And it just creates such a hostile fucking environment that you're not free to kind of do the things and or think the things that you want to do. So one of the things is, and I know why, because I've made videos on like psychedelics and ego death and all those kinds of things because I understood some of those things through that. But it's ego. Like I know what it is. It's Indian guys have so much fucking ego, which a lot of guys do too, like everywhere. But I'm just talking to you about my culture. So one of those things about having confidence or not having self-confidence or being masculine or something is literally being grounded. Like if somebody says something to you, you can either respond back, like being angry, like if I abuse you or your family or something, and you can abuse me back or something. But the other way to go about that is you can say whatever the heck you want. It doesn't make anything true. It doesn't actually affect my family member. Nothing really happens. So go ahead and do whatever you want to do, right? That's your security. That's the way that you kind of go about it. And again, the reason why people retaliate like that is because they think that by beating someone down or shouting at the top of their voice or making something that they end up looking better or bigger. No, you really don't. Like when you lose it, you really look really insecure and not masculine. Exactly. So all of those things really about being confident and calm and secure in yourself, that's everybody's looking, man. Everybody, like there are grown-ups that are looking at you as kids and they'll be like, wow, this kid really knows what he's doing or how to handle life kind of a thing. If there's girls around, they will look at the same thing. Wow, this guy's pretty calm and pretty chill. Like they're going to be attracted to that. It's just all of those things. So like, that's something that I kind of wanted to mention because like I know where I come from and where all of these questions kind of even come from as well. So something that I kind of wanted to mention. Yeah,
no, I think that's a good way of describing it. I like that idea of being, calm and collected. I've always spoken very much against anger and anger being a weakness, always being a weakness because it controls your actions and it allows other people to control those actions because they can just push a button and make you do a thing. And a man that really exhibits a high level of masculinity is unshakable. He's in control at all times, making logical decisions. Let's see, we've got one more question here. I think we'll do here, and then we'll wrap this up.
Can I add one final thing to what you just said?
Yeah,
the masculine. It's because this actually goes into masculine versus feminine. Like you've definitely noticed this. I've noticed this with my parents. I've noticed it with like literally every masculine versus feminine. Is if a girl gets really mad or a female gets really mad, it's the emotion, right? Because they're emotional beings, they're emotional creatures. As to we're both logical and emotional. I'm not saying that we're not, but for a man, the emotional threshold is like this high. Like something really bad should be happening before this guy's going to be like, I'm going to take a gun and kill this guy or some shit. You know what I mean? Like nothing really. But for a woman, I think emotional threshold is this much. You do something a little bit wrong, and boom, like she might actually say something that you will never forget, or that will really sting or really hurt. That's one of those masculine versus feminine things, and it's really important to know this, because again, if the more interaction that you have with males versus females, like you can kind of notice these kinds of things. So it's one of those masculine versus feminine things that I
And I'll add one more thing to that, because
Sure,
I agree with what you said, because I don't know if there's any women watching right now, but for women watching, this always becomes an issue, because they're like, "Oh, does that mean that anger is a feminine emotion?" And it's like
yeah,
the whole thing, and it's like so like the whole idea that like you said, I agree with the levels, right? It should take a lot for emotion to move a guy to act. And that's kind of being stoic, and whereas women, it's actually a good attribute for them to be guided more by their emotion, but it's about the response. So a woman who is more in her dark side will experience that spillover of emotion as anger and rage, whereas a woman who is more in her in the light side of her feminine will experience that spillover anger as expressing it as pain or upset or sadness, right?
yeah,
Vulnerability.
yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
Because and that kind of is going to get into what we'll talk about here, but openness,
yeah,
right? So it's like you can be, emotion is not bad, but and being emotional is not bad for a woman. For a man, it is bad, because men and women are judged by different things. But for a woman to be emotional in the correct way, right? There's nothing wrong with being emotional as a woman, for the few women that are watching this, but being in the correct way, in the sense that expressing your emotion in the sense of being sad, upset, vulnerable, and that, as opposed to anger and rage, which
yeah.
is negative. It doesn't produce a good effect.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point, pointing out the positive and negative are the same thing. Yeah, yeah.
Which I think also the reason why women tend to act in more on the rage side is because we have a weakness of men. Because in order for women to be vulnerable, to express that side of the emotional equation, they need to be in a safe space, whereas rage almost creates certainty within you, and is sort of the opposite of vulnerability. But
Yeah.
so Khan said, what do you guys think about the idea of presenting yourself into the world? Do you really have to be authentic to other people? Because really, we have no obligation to do so.
Do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll hit this one first. So, my idea, again, this is kind of what I was talking about before. I believe that it's good to be open, right? So there's a thing in the Bulldog Mindset membership where I talk about, and you've probably heard me talk about this channel, of 3 levels of emotional mastery, right? The wearing your heart on your sleeve, the emotional numbness, and then the feel the pain and keep on walking, the 3rd level. So the whole idea of like feel the pain and keep on walking, kind of the high level of emotional mastery, is that you are open, right? You're not closed. So you let the pain that you're feeling flow through you. You let whatever the emotion flow through you and out of you. It doesn't stay bottled up inside you. It doesn't be expressed by you. Instead, it flows through you. So you're open. So you're vulnerable to people. You're able to, just like taking an insult and being able to just let that go through you. It doesn't affect you, and to present yourself as open to the world, not shut off from emotion, not shut off from people, not being cold and callous, but at the same time being able to be non-reactive, right? It's one thing to be super reactive and to allow people to hurt you, and then to wear your heart on your sleeve and cry and be emotional about it. But it's another thing to be open and vulnerable with people, and in being genuine, because I think that's really important. Because when you close yourself off, you close yourself off from pain, but you also close yourself off from love, and that's, I think, really important.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's brilliant, because so sorry. So I actually had a podcast on like how to get over heartbreak. And in that, I actually mentioned the same thing. Like, so most unfortunately, when you have heartbreak, it's bad, right? Unfortunately, it's most of the times it's bad. Sometimes there might be infidelity, sometimes someone really hurt you really bad in a certain way, so on and so forth. So what happens then is, like, because you're in that state and you've just been hurt so bad because you were so vulnerable, because you were so close to someone, you've been hurt so bad that now you're thinking like, I am never going to put myself in this situation again. This pain is so unbearable. Like, my, living life is so hard right now. I will never put myself in this situation ever again. So I will never open up to another woman or another guy or whoever, you choose to be with. And sure, you will never be that vulnerable again, but at the same time, you will never love once again either. Like, you will never feel that good feeling and that emotion ever again either. So it is one of those things, like, you want to be genuine, you want to be open, you don't want to let the hurt kind of like affect you in that way. And about being genuine and stuff, yeah, man, being genuine basically attracts people to you, because people can see fakeness like a mile away. Like, when an Instagram Gymshark guy fucking goes and like, he's like, look at my abs and look at this fucking PCA, everybody knows, and they're like, fuck you, dude. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but when you have, like, again, when you have other people like being like, okay, this is, like, for example, like, I myself have a video like, okay, I ran this and this is what happened, this gave me Decadeg, this is what gave me Equipoise take, this is what gave me this thing, this made my libido amazing, this made my anger issues bad, this made this thing really good. People are like, and that's kind of vulnerable stuff, because I'm telling people, background stuff about myself, but I'm being completely open and honest about different things. And that's what makes people come to me. And that's when they're like, okay, man, I tried this is happening, can you please help me out? Oh, what if this happens or something? Like, that's when people want to reach out to you. But if you're gonna like try and be really official and really formal and all that kind of stuff, you're not making any genuine human connections anymore.
Exactly.
Like, that it doesn't exist anymore.
And the key one thing too about staying open, right? Because if you've been hurt, it can be hard to stay open. But the way to stay open and to not become jaded and to be closed off is to have non-attachment. Because when you have non-attachment, you can feel all of the things, but you're not attached to the outcome. So it's sort of like being able to say, I want things to go this way, or like, I feel this way, to be able to feel the fullness of life, to be genuine, but then to say, but you know what? If things don't go this way, I'm okay with that.
I'll be fine with
whatever
it.
happens. Exactly.
Yeah, I might be a little bit unhappy, but you know what? That's fine. I'll be fine with it. Yeah.
Because sometimes when you're so scared of being hurt, it's because you're just not accepting what you're so attached to a particular outcome. And so when you remove yourself from that attachment to that outcome, then you can remain open and you can be a lot more vulnerable and a lot more genuine, because whatever happens, you're going to be okay, and it's fine. You don't have that set object, and also that just helps you, and you hear that all the time in game about not being attached to the outcome, but it's very true in life to be not attached to any outcome. So
no, 100%. Yeah.
Let's see, we actually got a few good questions if you still have some time.
Sure.
Okay,
yeah, no, I'm good.
Let's
I'm just getting a little bit catabolic, but that's fine.
All right, we'll wrap it up.
No, I'm joking.
Okay.
I'm joking. Yeah.
So, so Raf said, intellectual muscle. My parents are from Pakistan. I find as a brown man, us brown men are the least wanted from women. I believe white men are the most wanted. You agree with any of this? Thanks.
Okay, first I'm going to ask you, what do you think?
I think that there is some bias. I think it would be like ignorant for me to say, oh yeah, it doesn't matter at all. Yeah. Just like if I were to tell a short guy, oh yeah, it doesn't matter at all. But I think that there's two things I would say. One is that there's an overemphasis of the bias, which is used to make excuses for not doing things in your life. And second is that life is not fair. No one ever
life is
said
not fair. Exactly. Yeah, that's part of being the grown-up man, masculine man thing, man. Like you can't cry about it, bro. Unfortunately, no.
And sometimes you have to work 10 times harder than someone else to get the same result as them. So what do? You work 10 times harder. That's it. So maybe it is harder for you, but so you can overcome that by working harder. So.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad, because like, again, this is one of those things that kind of gets a brush under the rug. But I would 100% agree with this thing, unfortunately. And there's so many things that I kind of don't want to get into, but yeah, there's so many reasons for why as well. But you know what, man, the problem with this is that, it is true. Again, it is one of those things, bad genetics, blah, 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 whatever. It is true. But if you live and if you accept that and be like, this is the card that I've been dealt, and I'm I can't do anything about it, then you're going to be in victim mentality mindset mode forever. Like you'll never do the processes that will help you to get out there, get the results. So let's say out of there's 1,000 girls or whatever, there's 100 girls, and 50 of them would always choose the white guy, and maybe only 10 of them would choose the brown guy or something. Bro, you still have 10 girls. Do you see what I mean? But if you now sit back and cry that, oh my God, his ratio is like half and mine's like 1/10, man, you're not going to get those 10 girls whatsoever. Like you're not even going to get come close. So everyone in life has been dealt a card. Someone's going to find it much easier to gain muscle. Someone's going to find it much easier to gain fat. Someone's going to find it much easier to lose fat, brown, white, whatever. Like you literally just played the card that you've been dealt in life to the best of your ability. That's all you can do, pretty much.
100%. Yep.
And I'm sorry. And to make it even better, if I use an Indian dating app, bro, my matches are like 60, 70, or 60%. I'd say that's really good. 60% out of all the 100 swipes that I get. If I use Tinder or something else, 0. Like Bumble, I get some stuff, but rest of them, 0. But you know what I do about that? So initially I was really depressed about that. Like, what the fuck? I can't even get, like I was really depressed about that. And somehow to me, getting rejected online makes me feel worse. Like somehow to me, looking at another human being in the eye and taking that rejection does not make me feel that bad.
Right.
And I started doing that. And so that's what I did. Like I'm getting nothing on Tinder. So I'm just going to go outside and just start chatting women up. I'm just going to start talking to people. And like, some people might like me, some people might not like me, but at least I'm literally going out there and putting myself out there and giving myself the best chance so that when I come back by the end of the night, I can look at myself in the mirror and be like, bro, you did every single thing that you had in your power to do. Have a good night's sleep. Do you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things. Yeah.
And that's the key thing. That's the key thing. I think that's so important to understand. I think so many people determine success in life by other people, by the standards of the world of how much money you have, how many hot women you have, all these things. And really, like at the end of the day, like you said, being able to go to sleep at night and feel good about yourself is about what did you have and what did you do with it? Because it's all about growth. And that's the thing, is like you make it about competition and what other people have, and you'll never
be happy, man. Yeah.
So let's see.
That was a good question though. Yeah. I'm glad he asked.
Okay, this one I wanted to get to too. Miko Hebo says, Jordan Peterson says women are more agreeable than men. Should you try to be disagreeable to maintain a more masculine frame?
You first, me first.
I'll let you hit this one first, since I did the other ones.
Sure. Sure, I think yes, that is, but I don't think that the first part of the question really connects with the second part, or really needs to be. So should you try to be disagreeable to maintain a more masculine frame? No, because when you're trying to be disagreeable, you're actually just be who you are. Like if somebody doesn't accept or agree with your thoughts, like I put out my thoughts on my Instagram, right? Like, man, when I made a DMP video, do you know, nobody wants to touch the topic of DMP with a 10-foot pole in my industry.
Yeah.
Nobody, no pros, no this, no that, no nothing. And I'm not telling anyone to do anything whatsoever. I literally made an educational video about it. That's it. That's all I did. So now I know the second that I make that video, I get hates like, you're such a small guy. Why are you taking DMP when this big coach and this guy with 1 billion subscribers said that DMP is bad? How dare you say this? Man, this is my frame. I'm literally giving you the evidence and everything and why I think the way that I think. And I might change it if you can convince me otherwise, but just because you berate me doesn't mean I'm going to fucking change my opinion. Like that doesn't help me, right? I mean, it doesn't take you anywhere. So I'm not trying to be disagreeable, or you shouldn't try to be disagreeable. Just be who you are. And someone or the other is going to test you, or, like whatever, test your frame, or try and be disagreeable to you with your opinion or something else. And you just state your opinion and stick with that, I guess, as long as it makes sense to you.
Yeah, I agree. I would say as well, do not try to be disagreeable. You want to try to actually be as amiable as possible. Okay. Which means in my mind, it means to be considerate of other people. Right. So I think the biggest thing, like as far as a masculine frame, is not avoiding conflict. But see, that doesn't mean punching people in the face.
No.
It means, for example,
yeah,
if I have someone on, let's say on my channel, and I disagree with them, I'm not going to avoid telling them that I disagree with them. Now, there are some instances where just out of respect, I'm not even going to touch the subject because it's not even worth broaching. But if it's something that I need to say, then I'll say, hey, yeah, I don't quite see it that way, but I can see why you do. And then I'll say my piece, as opposed to avoiding that conflict, right? And also as opposed to saying, that's stupid, right? It's like, it's to be tactful and to, but to not avoid conflict. I think a lot of guys, especially in relationships, also with women, they're walking on eggshells all the time because they're like, I don't want to upset the wife or the girlfriend. And it's like, no, that's not it either, right? Say what you're going to say, do what you're going to do, but do it in a way where you are being considerate, but don't be afraid to say what you disagree with something again. And even with guys, like a lot of times guys in game and pick up one of the biggest mistakes they make is they go out there and they're like, I'll just start agreeing with the girl about whatever. It's like, no, if you don't like this music, say I don't like this music. If she does something that's rude, say, hey, call out the behavior and say, hey, I don't like that you said that, or the way that you did that. That's not cool. You can have conflict like that. It's not being disagreeable, but it's being okay with disagreeing with someone, which is a totally different thing.
Yeah.
100%. Let's see. We got a couple other ones here. Okay, so we got a super chat here from Geek Mode School of React Native. How do you handle a woman's ego? I mentioned something I don't like once, and if it happens again, I end it. I recently had a woman call me hard.
So how do you handle a woman's ego?
I can jump in or go first on this one. So the thing is, it's really, I don't know if this is a matter of ego. I would say that watch out for your own ego in this as well, right? Because if you're like, okay, if it happens again, I end it, and then there's no redemption. Are you doing that out of ego? Is that really in your best interest or her best interest? Now, it's important to have boundaries as a human being, as a man especially, but but boundaries looks like this. This is healthy boundaries. Is someone says something that's disrespectful to you, right? Let's say a woman that you're dating, and you say, hey, I don't talk to me like that. I really don't like that. That I find that to be disrespectful. Right. That's that, like, you're not mad, you're not angry about that. You're just setting a boundary, because sometimes people violate your boundaries. They don't even know it.
You don't even know it. Yeah.
But you've said that. Now that you've said that, right? Now you see what happens. Okay. Now, if she says she ignores what you said and she, does it again, or, or disrespects you, now you use your most powerful weapon, which is your feet, and you walk away. It doesn't mean that you're like, never seeing you again type of angry storm off. It just means like, look, I don't accept, this is my boundary, and if you're violating that boundary, you're not getting my attention or my pride.
Oh my god, okay, I'm gonna continue this afterwards.
But she could come back and she could be like, after you walk away, she'd be like, hey, I realize now what I did, and that wasn't cool. And then you can just be no hard feeling. Like, you should be open to allow people to redeem themselves if they're genuine and authentic, because everyone makes mistakes. You make mistakes, I make mistakes, but you still need to have your boundaries. That doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It's just that you make it clear, and you don't explain yourself either. So when you set a boundary, that's enough. If it's just like, you could flip it, right? If you're in a sexual encounter with a woman and she says no, that's a boundary, right? Like, that's just a boundary. You don't like get butthurt or angry or try to force your way, right? That would be completely the same thing here, right? It's just a boundary. So when you set a boundary, it's the same exact thing, and you got to divest your ego from that as well.
Yeah, dude, this is so brilliant, because there's so many things that were like exactly the same. I guess let me take this into an example of, because we always talk about shit test during like the initial interaction, like the first interaction with a woman. By the way, shit test can be given by anyone, just so everybody knows.
Yeah,
men, and it's like, what I call it is like, a bitch is gonna shit test you. So it's not like the woman is a bitch. She's in bitch mode right now, tests you, comes back to her normal thing. So do you pass the shit test or not? And then guys do the exact same thing. This guy's going to be in bitch mode right now. He's going to test your frame, and then he come back to the same thing. So shit test is like universal. It's not like a feminine only thing. Now, I know that in game, we keep talking about shit tests, about like, she's going to test you, and they do that immediately to test whether you are worth their time or not. Here's the one that most people do not ever mention. If you start getting into a relationship, she will shit test you.
Yes.
Like there will be a shit test really quick. Within the first month, you will have a shit test. So, like for example, for me, I'll give you an example. I was with this girl and things are going great and everything, and I'm kind of forgetting what she meant. Oh yeah, oh it was about video games. I think I was like I was enjoying playing a new video game at that point or something, and I just started dating her. So in her mind, she was like, "Okay, I'm free here now or something, or I want to meet you right now or something." I'm like, I've been working all day. I've been working all week, in fact, and I haven't had my time to play this thing, and I've been dying to play it. So I want to go back and play this. And she literally shit tested me, be like, oh, "Are you really saying that you're gonna go and play a video game as opposed to spending your time with a woman?" Like she literally tried to like sexually shit test me too.
Right.
Like you're gonna get some, but you're not
You.
gonna do it. I know, right?
Yeah.
And my like, if I could have been, I would have been like, "Oh, how the fuck do you? How dare you say that? Blah 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 blah." And but no, because I knew what was happening. I knew she was shit testing me. I was like, you know what? This is something that's been in my life before. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you and the time that I spend with you right now as well. But right now is the only time that I have to do this. So I really want to do something that I promised myself that I was going to do. Obviously, she was upset at that point. Obviously, she was upset because she got rejected or whatever happened at that point, right? But she understood that was my thing, that was my boundary. And then after that, and I wasn't like, I never want to see you again either. And then we basically continued after that. That was the shit test that she gave me at that point in time. So I forget what, man, you used a certain word. I don't know if it was love or something else. I don't know what word that you used. Attention. Yeah. Your attention, whether it's to a dog or to a kid or to a human being like a woman or something, your attention is there. It's something that you're giving to them. That's a prize or something, that's something that they have to earn too. Like if someone's going to be really rude to you, like if John's going to be really rude to me and abuse me like 5 times right now, I'm not going to give him my attention. I'm going to go away. Right. You know what I mean? So similarly, like if this girl's being really rude to you or something, you take attention away. You don't be butthurt about shit. You're like, You know what? I have other better things to do in my life at this point in time. So I'm just going to go and do that. Your lack of attention to her is going to show her that, what she did is something that you do not like. And then she has to decide whether she wants to keep doing that or she wants your attention. If she wants your attention,
Yep. And this all comes from a frame, not of trying to manipulate, not of trying to like do something. It all comes from a frame of valuing yourself highly enough that you don't allow people to violate your boundaries and to treat you in a way that you don't want to be treated. It's having respect for yourself. And if you have a high level of respect for yourself, other people will have respect for you.
Yeah.
And that's key. And it's so, and that's again, coming back to being authentic, right? That's what it is. It's like, I don't let people violate my boundaries because I don't want people to treat me in a way that makes me feel bad about myself or that I don't enjoy. And so I take my attention away from those people, not because I'm trying to penalize them because, but because I don't want to give my attention to people who aren't worth my time. I have better things to do with my time because I have a high value for myself. And that's why all of having success with women comes down to having a high value for yourself, which comes down to actually creating something in your life that gives you the confidence to feel like
the confidence. Yeah.
Exactly.
That feeds that. Exactly.
Yeah. And that's where, tying it back into the beginning, lifting weights, getting good physique and pursuing some athletic endeavor can contribute to that. It requires more than that. That's not enough, but that's something that can contribute greatly to that.
Yeah. I'll just summarize that really quick because when you build something, your strength, your physique, your anything, you know what you were before and you see what you built right now, and you are the only person that did that. Man, that feeling, and it's not something that you can buy. It's not something that happens like this. That takes a lot of time and discipline and dedication and stuff. And once you realize that I can go from there to there, and I took myself from there to there, now I can literally use that in any other aspect of my life. And that feeling, that powerful feeling that you get that's what you want, pretty much.
Exactly. Well, this has been great. It's been an awesome talk. I think it's nice to talk to someone who has a very similar mindset and a very high level of emotional maturity. It's so funny. I did a video this morning where I was going to distance myself from the entire like the whole kind of
I saw, yeah.
And and it's because of the negative. So I was a little bit nervous. I was like, shoot, maybe I should cancel this interview because again, not to group you in, but just because I don't want to send mixed signals to people like, okay, but then John's talking about this stuff again. And it's it's more that I don't want to be around the toxic kind of environment. So this was refreshing, and hopefully the people that watch this got to see what the difference is. So
yeah, no, I kind of wanted to mention, John, thank you so much for having me on. And I'll also mention like just like kind of the background about how I have like 2,000, like I'm a pretty small channel. I'm a pretty small Instagram following and so on and so forth. That should not and does not really dictate or something the content and the quality of the content on my channel. So do definitely check that out. But the reason why I mention these things is because like, yeah, as soon as a smaller person basically reaches out to like another bigger YouTuber or someone to collab, the first instant was like, John basically saw my YouTube and my Instagram and was like, okay, I don't know. But then like, this is something that I would expect from someone like you and your caliber, was like, or at least let's just give this guy a chance. Let's just see what his content is. Right. And then he saw some of the stuff that I made and he liked the stuff. And that's what made him like basically bring me onto the channel to kind of share some of the stuff that I have. So I actually really appreciate you giving me the chance to come on this channel and basically even taking time out of your life to go through some of my stuff in the past.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on. It's really good content and good conversation. One last thing before I forget, I was going to ask you about this. Books. What are your favorite books? I can tell you're very well read.
Yeah, I actually made I remember them all. I actually made a post about this on my Instagram, being like, your memory gets wiped out tomorrow and you're reborn at the age of 18. So like, what 2 or 3 books would you save from now, like write down on a list or something right now to get you back into the same position or probably a better position in life in the future or something? So that's the principle based off of what I use these books. That one is actually Viktor E. Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Exactly, because I definitely genuinely do think, man, the meaning thing is for everything. It is not just for diet, training, and nutrition and stuff like that. But why am I doing these things? I'm doing these things because I'm doing this for the 18-year-old kid, the Ketan that used to be there, like the fucking low self-confidence, low self-esteem, no muscle, no girls, no nothing. The guy that had no idea about life whatsoever. If I had my channel back then and I could watch my channel, my life would be so much further ahead, etc., productive, but better in every single way. So that's my mission in life, right? That's my meaning in life, to keep doing these things. And that gets me through the other things. Like if girls don't like my content or people find my content, politically incorrect or whatever it might be, but my meaning gets me through those things. So I love the meaning. That's why I like that book, because it would teach you to find a meaning in life. The second one, I think, I hope you've read this. If you haven't, you should check this out like ASAP. Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil.
Yeah, the audio version is excellent, by the way. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. The guy that does the devil's voice, it just hooks you in so good. So good. But yeah, Outwitting the Devil is the other one. The reason for that is because all of these things, like what's a drifter and what are, man, I already forgot the key terms and words. Sorry. Drifters and other things like, distractions and so on and so forth. Like all these things are things that we kind of see in life, but until he puts a label on them, then you suddenly, it's kind of almost like a psychedelic third eye opening through a book almost. Like now I can see things happening that I saw them before, but now I can actually understand what's happening, and like what I should be doing and what I should not be doing, kind of a thing. And Outwitting the Devil is, again, it's a book for success in literally any aspect of your life. It's not like a single something like in fitness or health or something of that sort. So I love that book. And I'm not going to lie to you, I did not have a third one. But again, being a guy and coming from where I came from and from my society and culture and everything else, and even the culture that we see right now in the discussions that I have with everyone, I do think that the last one would probably be The Rational Male by Rollo Tomassi. Yeah. That said, though, his book is amazing. That book is amazing. I would also just be a little bit careful. In my opinion, I think he's a little bit too jaded. He's a little too jaded against just women, just in general, everything to do with women in general. That does not take away from the quality of the content and the theory and the structure and everything that he has in his book, though. Like that is something that you should know.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I had the same exact assessment of the book on my review when I did it. But yeah, those are very good. Yeah, very good books. Definitely recommend you guys read all of those books. So yeah. Thanks again, Ketan. It was great to have you on here, and glad to have you here, and hopefully have you back again sometime. So,
thank you so much, guys, and I shall see you on my channel.
All right, take care.